All right, I think I'm up and running. I know I always say that, but if you guys run these, you don't go right into it. Got it. What is going on, everybody? It is Mike Collier with Midlife Fitness. If you don't know who I am, I help midlife men and women lose weight, build muscle, improve energy, and develop healthy habits that lead to lifelong change. It's Thursday night. It's 8 o'clock. I'm in my basement and I'm ready to talk about health and fitness, one of my favorite topics. So if you're joining me tonight, thank you so much for stopping by here. I think I can see comments. So if you are here, say hey, hi, hello, give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're here. I appreciate you showing up here. If you have questions, if you have comments, like feel free to type them in the chat because I think I should be able to see them. Or if you're catching this on the replay, let me know by just typing in replay. And if you have questions or comments there, then leave them there. And then if you have a question, like believe me, you're probably not the only one that's wondering the same thing. So type your questions, your comments in there, and I'll answer those. Or I'll hit you up on DM if it's something, or hit me up on DM if it's something that you don't want to ask in front of everybody. So remember, there's no stupid questions. The whole goal of this is that we all learn and grow together, share information to make our health and fitness journey that much easier. Because when we do it together as a group, as a community, then it's a lot and support each other. Then it's a lot easier than if we try to do this on our own. It can be frustrating, lonely, and just be way harder. So it's nice to have that help and support and know that there are people like me and like others that are rooting for you, that are here to help and support you, and want you to be successful and reach your goals. So that's what we're here for. So if you're here, thank you so much. Thanks for being part of this community. Thanks for supporting me and the things that I'm trying to do and the message that I'm trying to deliver to everybody. That just because we're in midlife or older doesn't mean that our health and fitness goals are behind us, and our best years are behind us. That's ridiculous. So there's plenty of growing to do, plenty of progressing to do, and you've got plenty of years to do that. And you want to have a good quality of life as you get into your older years, and as you gain gain years, and you want to maintain that independence. So it's super important that you start that now or continue that now so that it's easier later on in life. So anyway, so with that aside, so let's get right into this. I have a little PowerPoint. I'll start here in a minute, but I want to talk about managing like emotional and stress eating. And that's something that most of us have been dealing with our whole lives, and we'll probably continue to deal with because we're humans, right? We have stress, we have emotions, and we have like not just psychological, but physiological responses to those things. So first of all, realize that it is normal. So, when you're upset or stressed out about something, when you're reaching for those cookies, when you're reaching for that ice cream to comfort yourself, realize that that's a normal response. It really is. And it's not something that it's just you. Most of us have been conditioned our whole lives to do that. So give yourself a little grace first and foremost. But there are things that you can do to help improve that. Other things that you can turn to when you're stressed or having those emotions that will also support your health and fitness goals. And that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. So let me get into this. I'll share my screen. I think it's that one. Cool. All right. Here we go. Hopefully, all right, I think it's good. All right, here we go. So for today, happy leap day, everybody. So how to avoid emotional and stress eating. So we're going to get into. So first of all, what is it? Stress eating, emotional eating, that's like eating because your body is physically or emotionally stressed out. So whether you are like anxious about something, depressed, like sad, nervous, worried, bored, that's what stress or emotional eating is. Okay, just to kind of define what it is. Typically, 9 times out of 10, it's not hunger driven. Like you're not even hungry. You're doing it because of one of those things I just talked about. You're stressed out, you're anxious, you're bored, whatever that thing is. Okay, but there are also physiological reasons for it too. Things like an overly restrictive diet. You'll see that a lot of times people are just too like restrictive during the day. So then at nighttime, when all that stress of the day is built up, when they are like just mentally fatigued, from just life in general and just from, being too restrictive during the day. At night, their guard kind of comes down. They get a little vulnerable and then they'll eat, they'll binge. So that's why you get those 9, 10, 11 p.m. Raids in the pantry or the refrigerator and just cleaning out the whole thing. Okay, I have done that several times. So that's one of the reasons for that is just your diet's too overly restrictive. That's a really good indicator of why that happens. It can also be lack of sleep. When you are sleep deprived, your body is gonna needs energy. It's going to crave energy. So it's going to go towards those foods that are the most calorie dense, which means that they have the most energy. So that's why when you're tired, you crave like chocolate, thing in like processed foods, carbs, because carbs they supply energy to your body and your body knows that. So it's gonna our bodies are amazing machines. I've said that a million times and they really are. They will tweak your hormones so that you are actually like hungrier than normal. And then once you start eating, they'll turn down your satiety hormone so that you're not getting full as fast, so that you just keep eating more. Your body's number one goal is to survive, and to protect you, defend you. So when you are low on energy, it wants to get that energy up. So it's going to crave those foods. So it's not just a psychological, but it's a physiological response to not having sleep. All right. Or there's a nutrient deficiency. I'm sure you've guys have felt it before. You're like, man, I'm really craving carbs. I'm really craving like a sweet or a salty food or some high fat food. That's also a physiological response to stress. Your body is stressed, and that's its response. It's going to seek out and crave those certain foods. So, but if you think about it, we've been conditioned our entire lives, kind of touching base back to what I was saying in the beginning. We've been conditioned our whole lives to use like food to soothe ourselves. Okay. So you think about it from when you were a little kid and you fell and skinned your knee, your mom, your dad gave you a popsicle to make you feel better. You got all A's on your report card. You were given like ice cream or pizza to celebrate. As you get older, you got dumped by a boyfriend or girlfriend. You had ice cream to comfort yourself. So we've been conditioned our whole lives to use food to comfort ourselves. That's the whole reason it's called comfort food, is because that's what it's used for, and it provides that temporary comfort. And really, like, people will turn to food to comfort themselves because it's really not, as far as in terms of things to kind of like make yourself feel better, to get those endorphins going and get that temporary relief, compared to like drugs and alcohol. There's not a stigma that's assigned to food, okay, that there is to drugs and alcohol. So you can easily, like, eat something and people aren't going to judge you for the most part. Whereas if you're shooting up or taking drugs or drinking too much, you're going to get judged. And food will activate. And so speaking of drugs and alcohol and things like that, so those foods, they'll activate those same pleasure sensors in your brain that drugs and alcohol do. Okay. If you've ever like sugar addiction is a real thing. If you've ever like, tried to stay away from sugar and then had a little bit, and I speak from experience, and you've had a little bit after like taking a break from sugar, it is ridiculous how much you're going to think about sugar after that. I mean, that happened to me years ago, and I didn't realize how addictive sugar was until I stopped having it. And then I had a little bit, I think around Christmas time. And then after that, it's just, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's insane. But when we turn to those things, when we turn to food to comfort ourselves, and like I said, typically it's going to be food that is highly processed, high in calories, high in carbs, high in fats. Unfortunately, they're also the most convenient things. You think about like the foods that we turn towards to comfort ourselves, ice cream, donuts, cake, whatever it is, pies. They're readily available. Okay, they usually don't require any utensils to eat. You look at a donut, they come in 12, or more if you want them. They don't require any utensils. It's super easy. They don't require cooking or anything. You just buy them, grab them out of the box, and start popping them in. And before you know it, the whole box is gone. So super easy to overindulge on those things. But those things don't support our health goals. And it's kind of ironic, and I talked about it in my post, that the things that we gravitate towards to comfort ourselves and make us feel better temporarily ultimately are those things that are going to sabotage us in the long run and in reaching our health and fitness goals. So it's kind of a downward spiral. So when those things do happen, so it's some things to think about. So when those things do happen, you're stressed out, you're emotional, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling sad, upset, anxious. Try to pay attention to what those triggers are. Okay. Be very mindful. And I've talked about mindfulness before, and I'm a huge proponent of mindfulness. But be very mindful of what that trigger is. Try to identify what that is, and take some stock in it. So are you at a certain location when these feelings happen? Okay. You'll have memories of, like, being at a certain place, and every time you went to this place, you had ice cream, like, with a family member or something like that. Then maybe it's not even here anymore. But now you go to that place, you kind of like, you associate that place with that food, and then you have that food because you want to remember and have that good feeling that you had before when you were that with that person at that location. So identify like what those triggers are. Are you with certain people? Is it like, okay, every time I hang out with these people, we drink and eat crap? Okay. So is that the case? Is that the trigger? Or is a specific day of the week or time of day? Like, after a full staff meeting, like every once a week, every Wednesday, Friday, Monday, whatever it is, I feel this craving, or I'm stressed out and I have to have like something to tide myself over. Okay, or something to kind of like, take the edge off. Is it something like that? Identify what that trigger is. Because if you can identify what the trigger is, then a lot of times you can control it and then avoid that situation altogether, hopefully. Okay. So some strategies to deal with it. All right. So we've identified what the problem is, identified like kind of some ways to identify, or sorry, to figure out what that is and what that trigger is. And now we're going to talk about strategies to deal with that and combat that. Okay. So number one is drink water. A lot of times thirst can be mistaken for hunger. You think you're hungry, you're actually thirsty or dehydrated. So drink some water. Realize that hunger doesn't, it's not a constant. Hunger kind of comes in waves. So if you're feeling hungry, I'm getting a message, sorry. If you're feeling hungry, it was on Facebook. So I don't know if it's somebody, whoops, chiming in here. So I don't want to miss anybody. Funny. Jason says not enough time for him to order his pizza. Need more notice. I gave you notice. I posted earlier today that I was doing this at 8. So that's on you, Jason. Enjoy your pizza. Um, but anyway, like I said, hunger can be mistaken for, or sorry, thirst can be mistaken for hunger a lot of times. So, drinking that water is going to keep you satiated. It's going to give you that full feeling. And getting back to what I was saying before, like that hunger kind of comes in waves. So after about 20 minutes, if you're hungry after about 20 minutes, that's going to kind of go away. So there are things that you can do to kind of speed up that process, and drinking water is one of those. Like I said, it's going to give you that full feeling. It's also going to keep you hydrated, so it's a win-win. All right. So number two, or drink tea. Okay, you're getting that hydration in there. And then if you're having that like kind of like sweet craving, adding a little bit of honey or cinnamon, that's going to kind of curb that sugar craving, kind of satisfy that. Okay. Number three, write it out. I'm a big proponent of writing things down. Okay. It's one thing to have a thought in your head. If you're stressed out about something, if you're anxious about something, nervous, or you have certain feelings about something, just thinking about it is one thing. Just thinking about it, trying to come up with solutions, kind of thinking through the obstacle, thinking through the problem is one thing. But if you don't tell anybody about it, then it's like no one knows, so it never really happened. But the minute that you write it down, the minute that you tell or talk to somebody else about it, now you've given that thing life, right? And seeing that obstacle, that problem, like right in front of you on paper, a lot of times is going to give you some clarity and kind of help you focus. And it's super empowering to be able to write down solutions to those potential obstacles. Okay. And then be able to refer to them later. I journal all the time. There's no way you can remember like every good or bad idea that you've ever had. So being able to journal and look back on it later is super helpful, super powerful. Number four, exercise. Like how many times did you feel that just kind of blah or kind of down, and then you did a workout or you just went for a quick walk or did something like that and you felt better afterwards? 100% every single time. So whether it's just going for a quick walk. Sorry, I'm getting another message. I gotta check they're not, because I'm in the PowerPoint. My messages aren't popping up like on my computer, they're popping up on my phone. So I apologize. Um, but when you exercise, it makes you feel better. It releases those endorphins that make you instantly feel better. Plus, you're getting a little workout, so it's a win-win again. Number five, so do an activity. Okay, something that's going to keep you occupied. How many times, like throughout the day, have you like been working or been really focused on something and forgot to eat? And you never got hungry. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh my gosh, I just realized like I haven't eaten all day. Okay. It's because you've kept yourself occupied. You're not thinking about eating. You're not stressed out and thinking about your problems and obstacles. So do an activity. So something like peeling an orange, peeling fruit keeps both your hands occupied. There's research to show that that citrus feeling is calming, and then when you're done with it, you've got a healthy snack to eat with the orange. So it's perfect. But other things like doing a puzzle, they have adult coloring books or do a kids coloring book. It's totally fine. Knitting, drawing, like anything that you enjoy doing, something that's going to occupy you and get your mind off of it is a better alternative to turning towards comfort foods. Number six, so think long term. So research has also shown that the relief that you get from eating comfort foods only lasts about 3 minutes. So it's pretty temporary. And like I was saying before, it's like a drug, right? It kind of triggers that same pleasure sensors in your brain. So just like with drugs, you're going to start to build up a tolerance to it. So eventually, like it's going to take more of that comfort food, more of that thing that you're doing to get the same like good pleasurable effect. All right. So that's why before, like, okay, one cookie's not getting it anymore. I need to have two. And then I'm gonna have to have three. And then pretty soon you're gonna have to have the whole bag just to like make yourself feel better, which leads to problems, right? So think long term. Think about something else that you can do that's going to bring you comfort, that's going to last longer, and still support your health and fitness goals. Okay. And then number seven, like have healthy snack options available. The problem with a lot of comfort foods is that they're also foods of convenience. Okay. Like I said before, they don't require cooking. They're, in like, convenient packaging that's easily removable. It's readily available to you. And the rule of thumb is if it's in your house or like within your reach, then you're going to eat it, period. So that can be a good thing or that can be a bad thing. It depends on how you set yourself up ahead of time. If it's a bad thing, you've got the things like the cookies, the cake, the goldfish, the whatever it is, chocolates laying around, and you're gonna eat those things because they're there and they're readily available. But it can be a good thing if those things that are readily available are fresh cut fruit and vegetables. Okay, good protein sources. If those are just as available, just as readily accessible as the processed food snacks, then you're gonna be way better off. Okay, so having fresh cut like fruit and vegetables in like convenient packages that you can just grab and eat right away, don't have to do a lot of preparation, then you're gonna be a lot better off. So number eight, like so schedule your treats. All right. So I'm all about quality of life. The people that I work with, we don't do like restrictive diets. I tell people like have pizza, have your ice cream, whatever it is. Don't have it every single day, but save those things for those special occasions or what they're for. They're for like engagement. The food's a social experience. You guys have heard me say this a million times. So if you're gonna have a treat, which is totally fine, and I fully suggest that people do that so that you can kind of adhere to whatever nutrition plan that you're doing a lot easier. And like I said, it's quality of life stuff. Plan ahead, plan that out. So if Friday night is going to be the night that you have a bowl of ice cream, totally fine. But realize that during the week, like you're looking forward to, okay, Friday night, I'm treating myself with this bowl of ice cream. All right. That way it's scheduled, it's planned, and you're ready for it. All right. So if you don't have it planned for that specific time, that specific day, then instead of having that little bowl of ice cream on Friday, it's going to be having that bowl of ice cream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? So that's a great way to kind of control that too, is to plan it out for yourself. You're planning out that quality of life stuff, and you know what's going to happen. It's something to look forward to during the week. And then number nine, don't skip meals. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. If your nutrition if your diet is overly restrictive, your body's going to end up like overpowering your willpower every single time. Okay, I don't care who you are. Eventually you're going to snap. And that's going to lead to a lot of like overeating and binging. Okay, that's like I was talking about earlier. You're super strict during the day, you're not eating very much, and then all of a sudden nighttime rolls around, your defenses are lower, you're mentally fatigued, and then you're going to clean out the refrigerator. of every single leftover in there. And again, at the end of the day, give yourself some grace. Realize that you've been conditioned to comfort yourself with food your entire life. Don't expect to change it overnight. Don't try to go cold turkey. Make small little steps, small little changes, like incrementally, something that it doesn't require a ton of life changes. That way, it's a lot easier to adopt, something that you can do more consistently, you're going to be successful at. And remember that we're going for progress, not perfection. Okay. Don't have that all or nothing mindset. If you're just making like one healthy choice, like once per week, once per day, once per month, whatever, that's still progress. That's still better than what you were doing the day before. And that's always the goal. Progress, not perfection. So that's all I had. I will stop sharing. All right, guys. That's all I had. Hopefully you got some value out of that. I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you did, if you have questions, again, like leave them in the comments. DM me if you want to ask me something in private. I will, if you have questions, if you want like help like setting goals or anything like that, then I'll leave a link to my calendar in the comments. You can schedule a free call with me. There's absolutely no obligation. I love to talk to people and try to help them out as much as I can. So I'll put a link to my calendar in the comments below this video. But if you want to work with me one-on-one and get a personalized program and see if I'd be a good fit as your coach, then I'll also put a link to my training application in the comments. Take 2 minutes to fill that out, and I'll take a look at that, and we'll start that conversation and see if we'd be a good fit to work together and make some real progress one-on-one. So that's all I had, guys. Like I said, hopefully you got something out of that. Hopefully it helps. Keep me posted. Let me know how you're doing. And other than that, have a great Thursday night. Have a great weekend and stay healthy, everybody.